A look at markets this morning. Futures pointing lower this morning, pulling back from another record day yesterday. Big tech helping to push the Nasdaq to an all-time high, while the S&P 500 notched its 9th record close in 2021. Take a look at yesterday's close, where we had uncharted territory. Nasdaq was up 53, and the S&P was up 6.5, finishing at new record highs, while the Dow was down a fraction. Joining me right now is Kyriba senior strategist Wolfgang Koester. Also joining the conversation all morning long is Fox Business's Dagan McDowell and Fox News contributor Liz Peek. Great to see everybody this morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Wolfgang, let me kick it off with you. Big earnings story this morning around Disney. What are your thoughts on the quarter so far for broad S&P 500 companies? How are you viewing the earnings impact?
Yeah, so I think that what we're seeing right now is what to be expected if you're getting this much influence and cash into the market. You just expect everything to just basically go up, because where else is the money going to go? But it's still, investors are going to look at the fundamentals. I think we'll probably end up talking about GameStop here in a minute, but let's talk about other fundamentals. As you know, one of the things that we look at is how are companies managing their liquidity. And one of the indicators of that is always the foreign exchange part. So as we look at last quarter, we look at companies like an AstraZeneca and a Crocs doing a really good job in managing their entire active liquidity, all that's related to the working capitals, to the foreign exchange risk, et cetera, et cetera. But then on the other hand, we've had the losers too. We've had the Whirlpools not looking very good about this. They really need to digitize their organization. They have Adidas, you've got Volvo, some companies, yes, those are the European companies, but they fundamentally, from when it looks at where people are going to put their money, that's really important. You mentioned earlier, and I think you're absolutely right, is technology companies continue to be hot for, in many ways, good reason, because this whole thing about recurring revenue and therefore the predictability of their value is just higher than it is in companies like the Volvos or the Adidas. So no surprise there. Technology is still going to remain hot because people are really going to get to understand this.
Yeah, I mean, tech has certainly driven this market for now several years. I want to ask you about what went on with the GameStop saga. Federal prosecutors are set to investigate whether or not that sudden surge in GameStop stock last month was fueled by criminal manipulation. Prosecutors are also allegedly subpoenaing information from Robinhood and other retail trading platforms. This is what former SEC Chairman Harvey Pitt told us when he joined us earlier this week. Listen.
The only question here is, were any of the individuals touting GameStop taking steps to try and artificially inflate the price of the stock? So I think it's a good thing that the SEC has said they will do a complete review and they will try to figure out who was pushing the stock. That's helpful after the fact. But at the end of the day, unless there's clear evidence that someone was deliberately trying to influence the price of the stock, there's very little that the government can do about this.
What does this mean, Wolfgang? Do you think we'll see higher standards, a bigger regulatory bite as a result of this? Where is this going?
No, I really don't think we will. I think it's pretty normal, and we've seen this again and again when you've had some drastic moves in an individual share price or, quite frankly, in the markets, that the SEC has to investigate. That's their job. Did something happen there or not? I think what you've got to look back is at the fundamentals of that stock and why did people make that trade. A lot of people said, yep, there's hype there, but some said, okay, it's a rumor that actually it's 140% short, so therefore this thing's just going to start running up because they're going to cover, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just market things. What you got to do is, at the end of the day, you got to look at the fundamentals as investors and see, do these fundamentals hold up or not? That's what one should do, and that's what people do. I don't see anything coming out of the GameStop from that perspective here. But unless there's something, as he said, that was intentionally misleading, which I really, so far nothing has come out to that, but it's pretty typical for them today.
All right, Wolfgang, it's great to get your insights this morning. Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend. Wolfgang Koester joining us from Kyriba this morning.